Hey everyone, of course, welcome to the next edition of Forum Bites. In this episode, naturally, we're getting back into the Trifecta series, episode 3, and we're back here with Chuck and Todd. And today's major topic is how the Trifecta, or each chair of the Trifecta, sets expectations and meets expectations for each part of EO. As per our previous episode, the new member, the chapter, as well as, of course, naturally, the forum. So welcome back again, boys, for another episode of Trifecta of us three getting together. It's always good to see your smiling faces, and it's always interesting to have this conversation about expectations, because I know, Chuck, in the last episode, that was one of your major points brought up. So, mate, tell me, membership, let's start off with there. How do they meet and set expectations positively from the Trifecta's point of view and the three parts of EO?
So it's a great question. I think membership chair is literally the leading edge of the new member experience, right? So membership chair is the person who's reaching out to find potential new members. They're vetting new members. They're identifying and interviewing the new member to try and determine character of them, what their needs are. They're selling oftentimes EO to the new member.
Very true.
And depending on the operational maturity of the chapter, sometimes they're just selling and not setting any expectations at all. So we've all seen that happen. That's kind of a challenge with really aggressive membership chairs. But for me, the membership chair has an obligation, and the obligation is to protect the chapter from people who don't match our values as an organization. And this is where I really get into values. And to me, our values we have the stated values, and then we have the actual values that are what it means to be an EOer. And those are the values of vulnerability, of being authentic, of setting aside your ego, to be somebody who wants to learn, wants to show up, right? So a membership chair has to begin there. They have to start, in my view, they have to begin there to meet the chapter's expectations. So when I think of my chapter, I think of my forum. As a membership chair, I want to make sure there's a couple things. I don't want to bring anybody into the organization that I wouldn't want to have in my forum. If there's somebody who comes in and they can't hold forum in a high regard, where they're going to attend and be on time and be prepared and those types of things, I probably don't want them in my forum.
Good point.
If they're bringing in a member who maybe, like, let's say we have 10 forums and we have 10 recruiters in every forum, a membership chair maybe shouldn't bring any more recruiters in right now because we don't have a place to put them. They have to be thinking in terms of where they can place them once they come in. The other thing that a membership chair really needs to do is understand fully the expectations of the new member. So they're listening to the new member, they're learning, they're helping to guide that new member into what EO really is and what EO isn't. And, a lot of people have a misconception. EO is not a networking group like, some of the other organizations that exist out there to get referrals or to do business. It's a peer learning community. It's a peer learning community, right? So the membership chair needs to also set the expectations of a new member of what EO is and what it isn't. They need to understand what that new member is looking for and make sure that what they're looking for is what we're providing. So and then they have to translate that information and hand it off to the other members of the Trifecta so they feel like they can do a good job of introducing them around. They understand what their goals are, their dreams, that sort of thing. So membership chair is really critical to the beginning of this process. And working closely with the other members of the Trifecta is the only way they're going to understand completely what's available, what options are there, and that sort of thing. Does that answer your question, Rod, about how member...
Mate, it does. And a couple of your major points there about how they're literally the gatekeeper. And I love the idea when they literally have the responsibility to make sure that they are welcoming people into EO that they would have in their own forum, which is a great litmus test. But yes, mate, it definitely does. And then moving on to forum, Todd, how are they going to meet and set expectations? Because forum can be a difficult role in this actually part of it. So how will they set expectations for 3 different areas, mate?
Oh, absolutely. An interesting place to be in. I taking what, piggybacking off of what Chuck says, if the membership chair is doing their job correctly, and they're not only the gatekeeper to the chapter, but also the quality control manager, that we're getting quality members, it makes it much easier for the forum to, decide if the person's going to fit. But a lot of forums often don't know what they want. So when I coach forums, I often ask them to figure out, who's a good fit for you. And they say, well, I want a company with, X millions in revenue. No, who's a good fit for you? What fits your core values? And I'm surprised at how many forums don't have a mission statement, how many forums haven't figured out their core values. So I always tell forums, figure out your mission statement, figure out your core values. Who are you and who are you not? Are you a forum that wants to talk not about just about business? Or are you a forum that wants to talk about the entire life experience? And you want to share that when you're talking to new members or when you're letting the membership chair know, hey, we're an authentic forum. We're a very open group. We want people who can come in and, as one of my forum mates says, open the kimono and be real as soon as possible. Yeah. So the forum needs to know who they're looking for, what is their timeline and how quickly can they integrate somebody. If you just came off your retreat and you had an amazing breakthrough experience and then you bring a new member on, is that really the right time? Or if you know you're going on retreat in 2 months, let's get that person into a couple of meetings so they can have a great experience on the retreat. I never try not to bring them in after that. Is your constitution, have you done your housekeeping? Is your constitution ready to go? Have you broken things down to the point of, hey, we know in our forum we go on a retreat, and our retreat every year is going to be facilitated, and we're usually going to travel when we could travel. And how does that look? And what is the cost associated with that? If you've got maybe someone who's a brand new, just crossing the $1 million threshold, maybe a $10,000 trip may not fit for them necessarily, but give that information on the upfront. There is a responsibility the forum has to know who's going to be a good fit for them. And also, who on your forum is going to be the champion to integrate that new member quickly? Is it going to be the moderator? Is it going to be maybe a tenured member? What is that experience going to be? So there should be a process as well. It's not just on the board or the membership chair or the trifecta person who they're dealing with. It's the forum has a responsibility, like we talk about everybody else, to carry your own bag organization. Well, the forum has to know who they are and how they're going to present the best self, but also integrate that person as well so they can have the most holistic experience possible.
And so, Matt, I suppose when you're talking about the expectations and delivering those, the major point you bring out there is making sure the forums are ready for new members. They are ready to communicate that, not just say I'm ready and then give them and then. Because I know when I was forum chair, the worst thing you could do was place a new member into a forum who wasn't ready. It is literally guaranteed to fail. Not only for the new member, usually for the forum too.
Yeah, I just did a Kickstarter forum and they were, hey, we want new members. And I advised them, let the pot simmer for a little bit. Give it 6-10 meetings, maybe a whole year before you start bringing new members. You've got to find your legs. You got to find your rhythm as a group.
And how would the forum chair also make sure that the new member understands and gets the expectations from your point of view?
Well, I think it's important to make sure the handoff from membership to forum is clear. And I know you're going to talk about the role of the integration chair. They've got to know what that person's looking for. And if for some reason, I think it's important to own your role. So if something hasn't been clearly conveyed, then get on the phone, get on a Zoom call with that person so you can really understand what they're looking for if something is possibly been missed. Because as we've all experienced, not every board member and every board member position is as strongly staffed as we'd like it to be.
With that, exactly. Yeah. And that's just the nature of the business. So, Chuck, you got something, mate?
Yeah, I would add that the other thing that forums need to recognize is that they are contributing to the experience that new member has when they come on board. So if your forum isn't clear on the values that they're looking for in a new member, not all the vanity stuff. Vanity stuff is how much revenue they have, are they on the news, all that other crap, in my view. What they need to be looking at. Do
they have a boat? All the other stuff. Yeah, I know, man. Exactly. I've dealt with it. Yeah. I know what you mean.
Yeah. So are they someone who's going to add to the conversation? Are they someone who's going to provide a point of view that is different than what's represented? Because that, to me, is the value of forum in general, right? If I can get lots of people, it's not for me, forum's great, but for me, forum isn't the place where I look and seek all my best friends in the world, although I have some best friends I've been in forum with, right? It's the place where I get a lens into a worldview that is completely different from my own, and it gives me an opportunity to see the world in a different way. And that is the value of forum in a lot of ways. It's these myriad versions of experiences that come in. So forums need to recognize that new members coming in offer that oftentimes and start judging them based upon those types of things. So as forum chairs, I think the critical piece there is the forum chair should know the values of every forum in the chapter. A forum chair should understand what the financial commitments are if you're going to be a member of every forum in the chapter, so they can then relay those to the member that's coming in and help to set those expectations and match them up appropriately. So that's the only other thing I would add, Todd. I think you covered everything perfectly, but that was just that little polish.
Yep, mate, and I do love the idea of primarily of adding there about the forum and the new member journey, and naturally that segues into the perfect meat of the sandwich, which is integration. People have always asked me, obviously, what is the job of the integration? You know, do they introduce people around? Yes, they do that. Do they get new members along to learning events? Yes, they get that, of course, obviously. But I primarily see the role of the integration is to actually assist in the expectations that have been set to be met. That's it. So in other words, the membership chair brings in someone and they're told they must go to learning events, and they make sure those expectations have been set and make sure that the new member does that. Or a new member goes into a forum and they're saying after 1 week, this person isn't fitting. They're not my type of person. And I love your point there, Chuck, about we're in forum not to make friends. We're in forum to get a different perspective. I have friends in my forum, but I've been in forum with people who I would never have naturally called friends if I hadn't been in forum with them in the first place. But I just see integration as making sure that the expectations that have been set are met. The only problem you ever get with the integration chair is if someone doesn't do their job in setting the expectations. Either a board has an expectation, or a chapter has an expectation of new members introducing themselves around, or we pick who goes into our forum. And I'm not even going to open that can of worms in this episode. That'll take us a whole episode. But it's just primarily that stuff. The integration is there is to make sure whatever expectations have been set at the front end and the back end, membership and forum, are being met by everyone. That's all it is for me. So anything to add there, boys?
I think you nailed it.
Perfect segue into the end of the last episode. So thank you, everyone, for, of course, naturally listening to episode 3. If anyone's got any questions whatsoever, you know what to do. Just leave in the comments section. Or, of course, obviously, remember to subscribe either to the YouTube channel or the podcast channel to get all of your forum bites as well as Trifecta news. And always, all 3 of us will see you in the next episode.